Good afternoon. We are here on the Nonprofit Spotlight Show. I am Janice Murray, and we're here by way of KHTS Radio. We're here on your hometown station, 98.1 FM and AM 1220. I am so excited for today's show. I have one of my favorite guests, Tom Burton. Tom and I have been doing this for quite a long time. Tom's got a new title, and I literally have to read it because it's a mouthful. Tom is the Director of Operations for Orthopedic, Sports Medicine, and Spine at Providence St. Joseph Health in the Southern California region. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
You officially need like a card and a half.
I need a card and a half.
Yeah, you do.
I think they just reached into the Scrabble bag and threw everything out there, and this is what the letters worked out to.
Well, tell us what all that means, Tom.
Still working it out, but basically we, with Providence Health System, Providence St. Joseph's Health System.
Mm-hmm.
So the Providence Health System was how we were named. Now
Right.
with St. Joseph's Health joining us in the care of patients throughout the western part of the United States, we now have a variety of ministries, and within those ministries we have institutes. Okay, and so we have there might be a mental health institute, there's an orthopedic, sports medicine, and spine institute, a neuro sciences institute, and we have these different institutes so that way we can actually focus attention on on areas that are really well circumscribed, that we can really affect a change. Things that don't bleed off into other areas, but we can really focus. So we can take a look at orthopedics, let's just, because that's my love.
Right, that's your baby.
We can take a look at total joint replacements. We can take a look at maybe fracture care, and go from from the very beginning, from even before they even have to have surgery. How do they get educated? How do we prepare them? How do we do the surgery? Are we doing everything up to date with the evidence-based practices? How we care for them in the hospital, how we care for them out of the hospital. What happens after that? And then maybe with the fractures is not as much what happens once they get into the emergency room and points forward, but maybe we have to take a look at it and go, hey, listen, maybe we can keep them from having a fracture at all. We can actually, we could maybe take a look at what their bone health looks like. Maybe we can treat that. Maybe we can take a look at their rehab function. Is it a balance-related issue? Is it a vision-related issue? Is it a vestibular or balance-related issue? There's so many different things that we could be looking at. And so because we've divided ourselves into these institutes, we now have a very large, Southern California is the largest for Providence, where some may argue anywhere from 10 to 11 hospitals, ministries,
Right.
and as well as a couple of medical groups between FACE, and we have Center of Orthopedic Specialists, we have the Providence Medical Institute. We've got a variety of different things that all fall with underneath that, and in order to try to stay focused on our institutes, we have kind of boots on the ground in the hospital. So our orthopedic program managers, which is what you have known me as.
Right.
And then those individuals have a main person or two, now it's two, that represents the region, and we bring system-wide to the region and then dispel it out to the individual hospitals itself, and work within ourselves to try to see how we can better improve things. So
You've been at Providence quite a long time, and you've got a real good grasp of the hierarchy and how it all works. But I think for the client, for the patient, the bottom line is you have a network when you come to Providence. You have a network to pull from of experts, of specialists, of doctors and nurses and caregivers and all of that to give you the best outcomes no matter what it is that you're coming to the hospital for.
Correct.
And that's the most important thing I can say.
It is really all about the outcome and how and what that journey looks like during that how we get to that outcome too. And that's one of the other pieces that we're really inspired to look at is how can we do it better? And that's really what we want to be able to do.
Yes.
And not only just the patient, but what we find time and time again on our Providence Holy Cross Health Hours that, especially when we have our physicians in or if we have some of our ancillary staff in, the same comments keep coming up. It's so important, Tom, to be able to educate the family, their support structure as well. And what we find a lot of the times, we spend a lot of time caring for the family and I don't want to say this comes out negative, and maybe less with the patient because it's a family
but
that needs a lot.
the family's the one that's going to be taking care of that patient once they get home.
It's true.
So
it's true.
if they're not educated as to what they need to be doing, the patient probably isn't able to care for themselves. So that's crucial. I love that. It makes so much sense.
It does, right? And then, and I think one of the other pieces to that is that we want confidence. Okay, not only do we want people getting better, but we want people confident in the path that is being put in place for them. And part of that is to be able to go home. We would love our patients to go home. Time and time again,
and that's not a negative. That's the goal.
It's not. It is the goal. We want to get back to life.
Yes.
Half of the shows that are medically involved here on KHTS, which, again, we throw a big thank you to because they've been a great sponsor and supporter to Providence. The same message is this ongoing. It's you're healthier at home.
Yes.
We want you home. Research says you want to be home. Providence recognizes this and that they're starting to talk about hospitals within homes. This is going to be kind of a new concept where maybe you go through surgery and your recovery is at home as opposed to recovering inside of a hospital room. Probably a healthier place. It's a place of comfort. As long as you know that you have the right amount of support available to you, it's going to be a really, really positive finding.
Well,
and we're looking forward to that.
The food would be better. I don't care what hospital you're at. My food at home is going to absolutely be better. So I want to be home doing my recovery.
I can't speak to that. I am certain your food's really, really good. I
got a personal chef, and he's wonderful. So let me tell you, food in my house is way better than
but the commute is tremendous. We just got finished talking about that.
That's okay. I make it every day. I'm going to be home for dinner. But that idea, you're safer. You know your own environment. The germ control is,
We've acclimated to our environments.
Yes.
Outside environments are always tough. You hop onto
safer.
a plane, you get sick.
Yes.
It's because it's different.
It's safer at home in your own environment.
Correct.
I agree. So I'm glad you guys are seeing that and moving towards that theology because to me that just works.
It does. And we're excited. So we're excited that we are slowly but steadily moving in this direction. What we're finding is that things that normally people had to stay in the hospital for, we're now able to do as outpatients. Okay, and I know we've spoken about outpatient total joint replacements. There's a lot of things where if somebody has a fracture coming through the emergency room, and this time of the year, really common, so they can align the fracture, stabilize the fracture, go home, follow up with your orthopedic surgeon, and then get this taken care of as an outpatient, where you just selectively go in for about an hour and a half surgery, get everything fixed up, probably home in another hour and a half or 2 hours, and you're on your road to recovery, as opposed to having that time where you're stuck in the hospital for a day, 2 days, 3 days, waiting for a surgery time to open up, and then you can finally go home.
Well, the biggest thing that's screaming at me is the cost. You're eliminating all that the medical expense of staying at the hospital if you do it that way. And who can afford to stay in the hospital multiple days? So if you can do all of that previous to coming in, do it at home and minimize the time at the hospital or in front of the doctor there and the staff. So much better. And
then there's the other part too, is that for everyone who's in the hospital presently, there's somebody waiting to get into the hospital for whatever that reason might be, a surgery, or maybe waiting to do their cancer treatment, or something that would require them to be admitted for a few days. And so now all of a sudden, the more things that we can move safely into that outpatient, or what I guess the catch-all term is the ambulatory care arena, so to speak, if we can move patients into that, away from the inpatient, now all of a sudden we actually have room in the operating room. We have room up on the floors where now we can ease patients in a quicker manner. Okay, and that's nobody wants to wait for an elective surgery. Even if it means you have to be admitted for a day or two, you don't want to wait. Once you've mentally made that decision, you're going to do this. Let's get it done.
Get in, get out.
Exactly.
I agree.
Exactly.
Well, and years ago I was on the board with Jerry, and we were working to raise money to build that tower. I don't know if you guys are going to do something of that kind of scale here locally again. So you got to think outside the box, and That's an amazing idea to get around, having the long wait times. Have people wait at home.
And I'll tell you, Providence, that is the one thing, I took a small break in the middle of my career and came back to Providence about 4 years ago. And the one thing that just sticks to my mind is they're not looking next year, even though maybe they're budgeting for next year.
Okay.
They're looking 5 to 10 years down the line. What are we going to do next? And, about 2 years ago or so, we started looking at fundraising for our NICU. Okay, neonatal ICU. We had to do it, right?
I had a baby in the NICU for 2 weeks. That's where my heart was.
I know you did, and so we recognized this years ago. We started to see a trend where moms would stay in the hospital, but the babies who needed that higher level care for those first days or weeks, they were having to be sent to another hospital. And now we're separating families.
I'm not going for that.
Not at all. Not at all.
My ex-husband wanted me to come home the first night, and I went home and cried the whole night. Said, I have to go back to the hospital. I can't leave her there. Can't leave my baby there. So I went back, and he'd come get me for dinner and could bring, as a parent, as a mom, new baby, that's awful to separate them.
Right.
And they're already endangered. They're already at risk because they're newbies.
Right. And it's new exposures and the whole thing. It was a lot more comfortable in their hotel room previously, but
but if they're in a NICU, they need to be there, and you need to be there to keep.
We want everyone close, and so we recognize this and go, you know what? Maybe we need
mom's mental state and
and dads too.
Yeah.
If they're going to be the ones who are doing the commuting all over the place, when we separate people, which we hate to have to do, but now all of a sudden there's other family that have to split time at one hospital, then at another hospital, and life still exists and continues. And it's an awful lot. And we've done our fundraising.
So I was going to say, what's the answer? Where are we building this?
We're building 6 more. My understanding is 6 more beds for our NICU. Is the rumor on the street at Holy Cross in the same area. And I think what we've done is they've expanded. Well, we are well. And if you haven't been to the hospital recently, you got to stop by. We've got construction going all the time. So our north building, if you remember the north building where PT and administration was, they're now building an entire, almost like a C around that building, which is going to be more administrative things. We're going to try to pull as many of the administrators out of the main hospital.
Smart.
Draw them into that space. Smart. That frees up an awful lot of office space. So that's how we're going to be able to expand our NICU, expand our PACU. Okay, this is an awful lot of acronyms. I apologize for the acronyms. NICU is neonatal ICU. PACU is post-anesthesia care unit, which is a fancy way of saying recovery room. But we're cool like that with our abbreviations.
Tom's cool, not me.
Hardly. Everyone who knows me. And so we're going to expand our PACU, and that's an important one too, because it's not as much having the operating rooms available so that we can do the surgery. But even for a surgery that may only take 30 minutes, they might be in the recovery room for another hour or two. Yes. And so there's always a backup.
I come out of anesthesia terribly. I need to stay in there a couple of days to get back to normal. So you're right. The surgery's half an hour, but
exactly
3 days later, she's still there.
You're going to have to leave.
I know, lady. Go on.
Janice, you got to leave.
You got to go home. We're done with you.
And so we're expanding that, and that's all kind of sitting in that same footprint on that side of the hospital. And so we're slowly expanding as best as we can to be able to meet the need that we anticipate 5 to 10 years down the line.
You guys are amazing.
So, and
that's
then
wonderful.
And you look at we're almost, I believe we are pretty much on set to start doing clot removal, where we can actually go up with a scope and almost like a pickle grabber, go into an artery and just yank it out, as opposed to trying to use medications to dissolve it, which can take time. And time is an important thing. You start losing brain cells the longer you're without blood, and so if we can go in and clear that clot out, we have people.
Matter of factly, no big deal.
It's not a big thing. We just go in and do it, and it was so awesome. We had a couple of our physicians in talking about it, and they said that they actually see people who couldn't speak and were unconscious. They removed the clot, and now they're conscious, speaking absolutely perfectly, and they go home the next day.
So
it's pretty significant stuff.
Only at Providence.
Only at Providence.
Only at Providence. Tom Burton, you come and my mouth always is dropped because you're talking about all this cutting edge stuff, and I've always been attached to Providence. Love them. I have always had wonderful care there, but I need to come back and check you guys out. You're doing amazing things over there. We are here on the Nonprofit Spotlight Show. We need to take a quick break. We've got a lot more show to go. We're here on your hometown station, 98.1 FM and AM 1220. Don't go away.
And now a cooking tip from Keith Mowry from Bob's Country Meats. Everyone loves chicken. It's easy to cook in a variety of ways, especially on the barbecue.
Marinate it overnight in your favorite marinade. Brown it up nice on the barbecue. And then put it on the other side in direct heat. Close your lid. Take another 25-30 minutes. And they're good.
Chicken, tri-tip, pork chops, turkeys, steaks, even exotic game like buffalo and ostrich. For the tastiest chicken in town, visit Bob's Country Meats on Soledad in Canyon Country.
We all know sometimes people lose their way. If you or someone you know is struggling with addiction, the Way Out Recovery SCV may have the answers you've been waiting for. The Way Out is the premier intensive outpatient treatment center serving Santa Clarita. Asking for help is the first step. Call The Way Out today, 661-296-4444. That's 296-4444 for a private free assessment. The Way Out is an accredited, affordable outpatient program that accepts most insurance. Call us at 661-296-4444 or check us out online at thewayoutrecoveryscv.com. Quit battling with yourself. Ask The Way Out for help today.
Santa Clarita's new rising talent, Dale Bushka and Paul Hoover.
All right, Lisa will get totally tubed. Ain't got the living end when you're totally
Dale Bushka and Paul Hoover. Discover more of their music at bhhmusic.com, where you can download their top 40 style songs for free. Paul Hoover, man of God with a voice and talent divinely inspired. Catch his live performances every Sunday at 9 a.m. and 10:30 a.m. at Valencia Hills Church, and download their music for free at bhhmusic.com. Paul Hoover and Dale Bushka at bhhmusic.com.
Hometown, your hometown station.
This is the Nonprofit Spotlight Show with Janice Murray.
We are back on the Nonprofit Spotlight Show. I am Janice Murray, and we are here by way of KHTS Radio. We're here on your hometown station, 98.1 FM and AM 1220. We've been having an amazing show here with Tom Burton from Providence Health and Services, Southern California region. But if you missed any of this, we're Facebook Live right now, and you can get KHTS wherever you are. You can download the free KHTS app on your iPhones and Android devices, so you can tie into our social media, our sports, and more. The easiest way to get that app is to go to your Google Play or App Store and search KHTS. So let's get back into it, Tom.
I have my app.
I do too. Because when I'm not in town, I want to know what's going on. And I'm getting my emails, and I'm checking Facebook Live and checking out the other hosts in those shows. Exactly. I got to stay in the loop, you know. There's a lot of information that we pass through these halls and in this room right here. Right. You are always very informative. And again, like I said in the first segment, Providence is always cutting edge and looking, as you said, 5 and 10 years ahead. What's the trends? What's the things, the boundaries we can push to make things better and get better outcomes? Correct. People are always going to get sick. People are always going to be hurting, breaking parts or needing to replace parts these days. Right. Hips and joints and all. Yep. Not you.
This
Come
guy,
on.
December.
Not a knee.
Hip.
Tom, you're not even as old as I am. Stop that. You're scaring me.
I don't necessarily know that.
Well,
close.
And I don't know what you've done to your body. I mean, I know you play golf. I don't know how you've beat it up, but you know where to go to get that taken care of.
I might know people.
You know
yes,
people.
I do know people.
I think you do, so you'll be fine.
And we're staying within the Providence family.
You have to.
Yes.
You have to. Don't you get that discount?
I wish there was a discount, but what I do have is about 4 years of stats, and
so you know that's the best place to be.
Yes, I do.
Just please let them put you out, because you don't want to be on the bed going, you might want to use that other.
They'll put me out.
They need to, yeah.
They will. They're not going to let me be awake during any of this.
No front seat drivers.
Not at all. No. They're smart.
Well, good luck with that. What else can we talk about in terms of Providence in your world? Orthopedic, sports medicine, and spine.
Oh gosh. Well, there's so many different things that are really going on right now with total joint replacements. We still see more and more patients are moving from long hospital stays to very short hospital stays. We're finding some of those who were normally short hospital stays are now able to do it same day,
Wow.
which is great. The big piece of it is pain control. That the surgery itself is fairly straightforward, and a lot of it is because they have to, maybe like with the hip, they have to cut 2 bones. So in order to be able to do, they have minimally invasive technique. I've seen the surgery. I'm intrigued with it, and the main thing is the pain control. But what we're finding, and thankfully, everyone else is looking to go the same direction. So there's a lot of research, a lot of good evidence-based care practices being discussed with how do you medicate before surgery? How do you do things during surgery? How do you medicate after surgery?
Yeah.
And that it's not just, here, take some narcotics. Here's more
Thank you. I
narcotics.
was gonna
Here's more
ask you
narcotics.
that.
Here's more narcotics. And
There's got to be ways around it.
well, there is, and I think what we're finding is that we're getting better because we're taking a look at not only just blocking your sensation of pain, but why don't we take a look at why you have pain? Obviously, that's a trauma. There's going to be inflammation. There's irritation. There's a lot of chemical processes that all can be irritating and elicit pain. So now we're finding people are going on anti-inflammatories after surgery.
Okay.
You have to be healthy enough. Obviously, your kidneys have to be in good shape and things like this. Stomach has to be in good shape in order to be able to do this. But they're doing anti-inflammatories right after surgery. They're doing them before surgery. They're doing what they call neuroleptics, like a Neurontin or a Lyrica, which is kind of helps on the nerve endings themselves. Because, we oftentimes forget, even though it's a slice and we talk about the bone, but anytime you slice, you're also hitting those small nerves too, where the pain fibers are. And so, you think of a paper cut and how much that would smart. Matt, this is just a really big paper cut.
Okay, yeah,
the
sure.
worst. And so now we can put people on maybe some medications that'll help kind of calm those nerves that are emitting these signals on top of it. And then what we're finding, even simply a good dose of Tylenol with that also helps with pain. And yet we haven't started any narcotics yet. And now those opioids or narcotics, those get added in for what we call breakthrough pain. And that breakthrough pain is when you're doing something and it's to a point where the regular medications are no longer helping and it's really affecting your quality of life, where we can go ahead and have a breakthrough pain. And what they're finding is there's less narcotics, less opiates, and there's a lot of side effects between nausea and vomiting and constipation and dizziness, sleepiness, all these different types of things that can occur with it. We can actually stave some of that off, and that means patients are going to be able to be more involved in their care, which is really exciting because it's really about us getting up and moving, and they're going to be with it. And the other part too is, depending on the approaches, there are some people who are having their surgery in a week and a half, 2 weeks later, driving, walking, going to the store.
That's wonderful.
In fact, one of my colleagues who just had the surgery done, she was indicating that she was at the grocery store within weeks. Which is great, right? And and this is really exciting for us on the orthopedic side. But I think one of the things that I was really excited about too was that normally if it's something we can't do, we send to what they call a tertiary care facility, usually like a university level facility. And the reason that university level facility is necessary is because they have enough staff to be able to handle some of those, I'm going to say odd cases, but the ones, if you don't see an awful lot of these types of maybe once or twice a year, it's practice makes perfect type of a thing. And now they'll go off to those tertiary care facilities. And now with our association with some of our doctors, Dr. Bobby Igbalier, who is our hepatobiliary specialist,
He's what?
liver and pancreas guy.
Oh, thank you.
So he has this wonderful ability to do the surgeries at Holy Cross that normally we'd have to ship out to one of the universities. And so the hospital has recognized that we need to keep our patients here. It's closer to home. It's easier on the family.
And easier to bring the specialist in
than it is to ship the person. Exactly. And now we have that capability. And in certain areas where we've got a lot of real just strong specialists, they've decided, why don't we form a partnership? Now, all of a sudden, we've got partnerships with City of Hope, Children's Hospital LA. We have partnerships with Exer. Okay, so we talked about Indeed, and for those of you who aren't aware about Exer is really interesting because every so often it's really hard to get an appointment with your actual doctor when you need to.
But I think I told you it was like 10 o'clock, and I was in there on a maybe Thursday or Friday evening, and they
and you're in. and you're out.
It was some odd issue, but it was a positive experience.
It was, and it's so great because we get to be a part of that. And for those of you who don't know, so EXER is an urgent care. We use urgent cares a lot. Sometimes we have to go to the urgent care. We don't really have a choice because you can't get into your doc.
You know what next emergency room, right?
Now there's no punch card, from my understanding, but maybe there should be.
For some families.
But it's staffed by board certified ER physicians, and that's something special too, because these are individuals who are so used to seeing everything, and then it doesn't. I don't want. It doesn't get them.
It doesn't rattle them. It
rattles a good word. Thank you.
It doesn't freak them out when somebody comes in their arms left and the bone sticking out, blood shooting
It's
over.
just another day at the office.
Yeah, we've done that.
And they can handle.
Let me get a Band-Aid.
Right. That's exact. Splint that. Here, put a finger right there.
You're good. Go home now.
and they can take care of all of these things and move you to the next level of care wherever it's necessary, where normally you're going to leave the urgent care and be sent immediately over to the hospital, and you might be able to eliminate that one step. And so even good. EXER, so we've got all of these wonderful partnerships and physicians that are coming in and doing unbelievable stuff that we can actually now keep things in the hospital, which is great. Or in EXER's case, out of the hospital, which is really, really interesting. And then one of our interventional radiologists, Dr. Navita Egbalye, yes, a brother. We had them, all three of them on there. Great. Vascular surgeon, interventional radiologist, and hepatobiliary and general surgeon. Just amazing. Wow. Their parents have to be so darn proud. They're so good. And they're up here.
Showed out some money, didn't they?
Right? There's the punch card.
There is. But they're here local?
They're also in Valencia. So we have that beautiful facility over on McBean in Valencia. And that is we have our specialty office there. We have a number of people from vascular to oncologic to general surgery. All are doing time. That sounds wrong. They're all spending time in that clinic at least once a week, depending on how the schedules are looking, to be able to come up. You know, and
I've been there for services. Trust me, that's so. I mean, not that Holy Cross is that much further, but it's convenient as heck when I'm right here to go to McBean versus to go. Out of the valley, as people think it's so far, but it's not.
And we think back to part of our mission, and part of the mission indicates that we're going to try to ease our patients' way. And part of that we can do is, why don't we come to you? All right? Why do you have to deal with the traffic? Anyone's driving out in the morning, coming down to the valley, realize it's still a 25-minute schlep in order to do a 10-minute drive. So...
exactly. Why?
And that's on a sunny day and no accidents. And so it just stands to reason. If we can do things up here, it's going to make it easier for, and as an employee who lives up here in Santa Clarita and has been a patient of Holy Cross and Providence and Facey all of my life, it just stands to reason I'd like to be in and around where I live. It's going to make it easier on me. It makes it easier on my wife. It's easier.
Absolutely. Love that. Wow. You guys are doing something right. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, fingers crossed. We just keep up the good work, and it makes it very, very easy. We have very dedicated staff, which we're really excited about. They all want to be there. We've got physicians who can handle pretty much everything and anything. We are well situated within all of the HMOs, aside from the one that starts with a K. And so we can take but if it happens to be a trauma, and we're also a level 2 trauma center. And because of that, even those patients on occasion will have to come to the hospital until such time that they can be stabilized to a point where it's safe to be able to transfer. Oftentimes they get to stay with us, and depending on the severity of an injury, sometimes they're being referred to us by them. So, it's a really, really positive time. We're already taking a look at what our next expansions. Well, I've told you about the North Building, how we're opening that up to make sure that we can get more space for our NICU and for our ORs. We've done a tremendous amount of renovations on all of our floors to bring the technology up. Gosh, there was years and years and years ago where you couldn't dial a cell phone in the hospital without turning somebody's telemetry going goofy. So cell phones were not allowed in hospitals back in the day. It's because they worked off similar bandwidths, and so we couldn't do that anymore. Now that's not a problem. Everything is going so technologically advanced. It's just really, really exciting about all of the things that are occurring in medicine. And the nice part of it is it's also occurring at Providence. And so we're trying to not only keep up with what's going on, we're trying to stay ahead.
Curve. You stay ahead of the curve.
Well put.
You
well
do. Put. I know, just from my experience with the facilities, the 3 or 4 facilities in Providence that I've been to, I've had to, experience, unfortunately. Right. You guys are ahead of the curve, and I just love that. I know that whatever the procedure is, I'm going to be getting the best of care. I'm getting the best procedure for what I have to have done, and just the quality of the professionals that are there providing the services. The whole experience is, every time I've had to go to Providence for whatever it is, it's always been positive.
And the nice part of it is our administration is literally behind us 100% of the way.
That helps.
Really
and
does.
Your board and everybody that has anything to do with Providence.
Exactly.
Behind you guys 100%.
Yes.
It's a good place to work, Tom.
It's not
You're
half bad.
Guy.
Yes,
lucky
I
guy.
am.
We are here on the Nonprofit Spotlight Show. We've been talking with Tom Burton from Providence Health and Services, Southern California region. I am not going to say your title again. It's just too much. It's just too much. But we have to take a quick break. We're here on your hometown station, 98.1 FM and AM 1220. Don't go away.
Healthcare can be difficult if you're underinsured or have Medi-Cal. Samuel Dixon Family Health Center can help. Services are available on a sliding fee schedule. The mission of the Samuel Dixon Family Health Center is to give the Santa Clarita Valley access to affordable, quality primary care. There are 3 locations to serve you: Canyon Country, Newhall, and Valverde. Go to sdfhc.org for more information and to find the location most convenient for you.
Hi, Santa Clarita. This is Rosemary with Beyond Harmony Med Spa with some great news about Kurt Stinson. Now, why am I telling you about a plumber? When I had a horrible plumbing situation at my house, Thanksgiving morning, house full of people, of course I called Kirk. He rushed right over, took care of our problem. The prices were so reasonable, I couldn't even believe that I was paying that on Thanksgiving Day. If you need a plumber, Kirk Stinson is the guy to call.
Plumbing by Kirk, 263-6519, or visit plumbingbykirk.com.
Your hometown station, KHTS. This is the Nonprofit Spotlight Show with Janice Murray.
Thank you. I am Janice Murray, and we are here on the Nonprofit Spotlight Show. You guys, this is the best place to work. I have so much fun. And my engineers, Bree and Patrick, you have the hardest jobs because you have to control me and my craziness. But we are back on the Nonprofit Spotlight Show. We are here with Tom Burton from Providence. We're here by way of KHTS Radio. Hopefully Jerry knows that I'm good for at least a couple more shows. She doesn't want to fire me yet because, I have my moments. But Tom.
They're good moments.
Help me out. We have fun. This
Yes.
is a serious organization,
It
and
is.
we have serious things to talk about, but we can make it light.
Of course.
We know people get sick. That's a part of life. And that going to a hospital and getting treatment should be a positive experience.
It should.
And when you and I talk, I hope that that's the one thing that I walk away with. I always learn something new and better that you guys are trying to push for to make the outcomes for your patients better.
Right.
And that gives me a sense of comfort. And so when I'm here, cracking jokes and having fun, it's because every time I've ever been to Providence, it's always been a good experience.
It's always a solid experience.
It is.
And I'm a product of. I was born at back in the day it was Holy Cross. It wasn't even Providence yet, but this is a
Cross baby.
life thing. This is a
You're in the
it's
family.
it's a calling.
Yes,
so,
it is.
We spend an awful lot of time in there, and we spend so much time when we're doing our shows on the health hour, as well as when we're talking about things, all the different stuff that's going on at the hospital, about our patient care. So I'm gonna turn this one around a little bit.
I'm glad, because I was going to ask you about that.
I need to go back to my notes because it's over here somewhere, because we are ranked. Holy mackerel, and I should remember this.
Wasn't it on
I'm
Billboard
so
one day?
I'm pretty certain it was. I might have it tattooed somewhere. Okay, so I'm not finding it. However, what I will say is that we are one of the top hospitals as an employer. In the United States, nationally.
I can see that.
And so
I can see that.
So we always seem to talk about the patient care. But what we can talk about too is the fact that our staff is lights out. The people who are actually doing the work, the ones who are on the floors, our staff members, who are doing the imaging, those who are keeping the hospital done, nice, making sure the landscape is intact, making sure there's safe parking. All of these, every individual who has any role within Providence, especially at Holy Cross, they're known as caregivers. They don't talk about employees more. They talk more about caregivers, and it's just that everyone has
a mindset for.
Well, it has a part. You have a role. Something that will occur. Whether there might be a positive experience that comes out that they walk through and go, "Wow, the lobby is so nice and clean," and "Oh, wow, I had a great place to park," or the person who assisted me because I couldn't find my way was very, very helpful. Everyone and anyone has an ability to make our experiences at the hospital that much better.
I think the other part of that is that Providence as an employer cares about their employees so much so they want to know their opinion.
Yes.
Yeah, when you go to the hospital for a stay, they give you that little survey. Can you fill this out and let us know how your experience was? But you guys flip that and do an employee survey as well.
I appreciate you bringing that up, and it's becoming more and more acknowledged that patients are getting surveys. We have HCAP scores that we have to maintain, things that are being measured by Medicare, things that are being looked at by health grades to see how we are doing as a location in our ability to deliver care. And we rate very well. A lot of our services are rated top-notch in the California as well as in the nation. However, you never really think about your employees. And so the hospital actually spends an awful lot of time during the month of October routinely.
Okay.
And we're hot in the middle of it. We're day 6 of 14, I think, where we're doing employee surveys. Okay, and that's pretty much all Providences. And so they care. All right, it's not a long survey. I already did mine, and but you spend 5 or 10 minutes or so going through it. We want people to think about it thoughtfully and intelligently because it's these answers that also help drive change.
That's what I was going to say. They're on the ground day to day, hands in the mix. They know what works and what doesn't. That is your first line for suggestions on how do we get better.
And how do we keep that unbelievable staff? How do we keep them? Yeah. How do we keep them on our premises? We don't want to share them with anybody.
You listen to them, you respect their opinion, and you consider them caregivers instead of employees.
Well, that's a very big piece of it, and I think one of the bigger pieces too is they've been doing this for quite a while. Is they will take these surveys, they will figure out everybody's answers. Everything's pretty much anonymous, which is nice.
That's probably a lot of work on the back end, too.
A lot of back end work. And there's also free text, so they can actually put in specific things. And they can tie it to specific departments, so that way all of that information then gets placed to the department. Hey, these are the things that we find. And some of them might be wonderfully positive. And we want to look at that and go, all right, so we want to keep that one going. And then if anything comes up where there's a negative, we can take a look at that and go, all right, we need to fix this, all right? Because that's something that people
somebody's job, yes.
Yes, it does. And so we take that stuff serious. And a lot of the times you're going to find that not only do you get the results of the survey, but then there are going to be action plans required from everybody to figure out, okay, so how are we going to fix these things? How do we address this? And a lot of the times that gets brought right back to the employees, all right? How do we?
They need to close the loop and know that whatever they, what their complaints or suggestions or their opinions are heard, and that they're a part of a potential fix.
And then I think there was a question actually on the survey. It said, have you seen changes based on these surveys in the past? And the answer to that is yes. And at least in my mind it was. And so now all of a sudden, not only are we looking, we look at things that are good, things that are maybe have an opportunity for improvement. We ask those who are the experts on how can we improve that, which a lot of the times are the people who are actually doing the work. And then I think the most meaningful piece is now fix it. And if we fix it, now all of a sudden the employee realizes, I actually do have a voice. And believe it or not, that is an actual big deal.
That's empowering.
Everyone should have a voice, and be listened to and heard. And be able to have action on it. And that's one of the things I think with Providence that I've had the opportunity to enjoy is that, I'm on things that are system-wide. And this is when I was an orthopedic program manager at Holy Cross. I was still on calls with 40 other people from different areas around the United States where we are creating standards. We're creating policy. We're trying to derive specific care, try to figure out what that would look like. How do we package it? How do we socialize it amongst everybody so that way we can start affecting change? And we're affecting change. And that's an employee, just a schmo, who's getting that opportunity to be able to have their voice heard, to be able to be a part of something much, much, much bigger than one individual ever could be, and then bring that back to the hospital and have noticeable change. And
that's an employee who's going to enjoy coming to work every day and want to be there long term.
Correct.
That's a win-win in my book.
Yeah, no, we're extremely lucky, and it still goes back. And I know I threw that last comment about the administration in at the very end of our before we went to break. But you've often heard that stuff rolls downhill. All right. Well, a lot of stuff rolls downhill, including good positive behaviors as well. And I think that's one of the things that we recognize, especially at Providence Holy Cross, is that our administrators actually do live the mission. They're there. They're listening. They're doing what they can in order to better the hospital and better the experience that the patients have, listening to the staff, listening to the physicians. This is a whole nother group. There's, you never want to look at a business and who their customers are, but we have patients who are customers, their families who are customers, the employees are customers, the insurances are customers, the physicians are customers.
Yes.
And
you have to service all of those people.
And you talk about a difficult job, and administration really has to be there for it. And, the interesting thing is that I get a fairly early start, and I'm oftentimes beat by the administrators, and I work a long day, and oftentimes they're still there when I leave, making the magic happen behind the scenes. Sure. So that way 5 or 10 years down the line, as an employee, I know those doors are going to be open, okay, which is actually a difficult thing nowadays, considering the way that medicine and reimbursement and thing is going, and being able to keep up with the technology, which, is unbelievable. But the other part of it sits with the board. Yes. Which is hugely important. Our volunteers.
Absolutely.
They, everyone thinks about that they have to donate money. You have to, no, you don't. No, we would love for you to come by. You even said it. I need to come by. Yes, you do. You have to come by the hospital, see what's going on, talk with our foundation people to see all of the things not only going on now, but what do we got planned in the next 5 years, 10 years down the line, and then see, does any of it tickle you the right way? All right, and if it tickles you the right way, see how you can get involved. It might be monetarily, great. We always appreciate that. And I know our Dr. Klein, our illustrious CEO, is doing an awful lot of talking, and I think he's going to be at Porter Ranch. It's well worth talking with the foundation, because I believe he's going to be speaking in the Valley on preparing for the future, and as a foundational talk, and that'll be a very interesting one. One, he's a great speaker. Two, he's an old hospitalist, so he's worked in hospitals. He is a physician, not just a PhD, but he's an MD, and so he's lived the life, and so he sees it from both perspectives, which is really nice too. So recommend maybe contacting foundations, see how you might be able to be a part of that.
Sure.
Our business development guys and gals and our administration has really, really embraced spine health and spine surgery and such, and we are having a talk also down in the Valley. And again, I would call the foundation. I believe that's or maybe medical education. Dr. Spooler, one of our lead senior spine surgeons, Raylene from physical therapy is going to be speaking on conservative approach care for spine, and Dr. Brar, who we had on the show probably 3 or 4 months ago. Yeah, Dr. Brar as a pain interventionist, not a pain management, but an interventionist, where he's actually going to, not only do we want to find out where it's coming from, why is it there, but how can I affect that? So that way these patients can actually get better. So that's going to be an unbelievable talk, well worth calling into the hospital.
And these talks are free and open to
They
the
are
public.
free and open to the public.
That's worth
Limited,
checking out.
but limited seats.
Sure.
Limited seats. So it is first come, first serve, but is my understanding. But, give a call to the hospital.
Is it still 1-888-HEALING?
1-888. Yes.
Tom,
See, this is what you do to me.
I know, but that's important. You should know that for your own show. How do I get in touch with
use it, but I always have notes in front of me.
Okay, if I wanted to go online and find out.
888-HEALING.
That's
the
the most
easy one.
It is.
That's the easy one.
How can you forget that?
But if you want the 818 number, it's 818-365-8051.
All right.
And then I believe we just released the new Providence, Southern California region website.
What's that?
That's providence.org. and so it'll direct you to there, and it'll also then allow you to go to whatever hospital or ministry that you would like to be able to click into or institute. And there should be an awful lot of information as far as all of our educationals and things that are going to be going on as well. Also extremely, extremely helpful. So much.
I know.
We
You
didn't
got 10 minutes, Tom. Come on.
We didn't even get to the sports care program.
Oh, please, real quick, because kids are back in school, and parents.
Keep going. Let me wet.
Parents
Here.
are putting their kids in football right now, or they're already in football.
Oh, they're in football.
Basketball's probably coming up, and
Hot and heavy in it. Basketball's coming
soccer's
up.
always.
Never ends.
So you're in that department or institute. You always got customers, right?
It is gravity's rough. All right, and it's
Tell that to an old person. Yeah, gravity is rough.
Believe me, I'm with you. The sports care program within Providence, which has been pretty much based in the San Fernando Valley, it's grown. We were 7 high schools. We're now 9 high schools.
Nice.
We through the kindness of Providence, we deploy a full-time clinical athletic trainer. So they're not doing classes, they're not doing anything. They're there only to take care of student athletes, deliver treatment, do preventative work, progress training programs, things like that, working hand in hand. And it's not just with football. It's all sports on the campus. So they're there 5 days, sometimes 6 days a week, really just knocking it out of the park with every athlete, doing a bunch of different things. One, we really want to know how they're getting hurt. We want to keep them from getting hurt.
Sure.
So we're
First
recognize trends. The best treatment is prevention, but you sometimes have to be able to recognize it. So we're recognizing trends. We're trying to get in and trying to ease people's way. We don't want to have kids have to leave the school to go off maybe to do their therapy. If that is something that could be done on the campus, which means now the athletes can stay with their coach, do some of the rehab away from the practice when it's available, and do it at campus. What that does is it also keeps the parents having to take time off of work and be able to go off to a clinic, which everything has a cost, you know. And so what we've been able to really see is that by deploying athletic trainers, and we absorb that cost, salary as well as benefits.
It's amazing.
And it's 12 months a year. So even during the summertime, as they're doing their camps and as they're doing their summer work, we have our trainers there to help take care of things that maybe those little creeks that never took care of themselves during the school year, to try to make sure everyone is safe during the hot weather, make sure we're taking care of any training injuries that can possibly occur, which usually can, and just making sure everything is fine. We've been able to deploy either primary care sports medicine or sports medicine fellowship trained orthopedic surgeons to each of the schools to cover the home games for football.
Nice.
Which is a requirement by CIF. And so we have Providence aligned physicians helping out with that. Our huge network of physicians available, EXER, our emergency rooms. We've got a tremendous group who handle concussions that Dr. Patterson.
Are you still seeing those? I thought
oh my God, no, it's
helmets,
worse.
Aren't they supposed to be better?
No, they're in fact we still see them, and we see as many too. And I think one of the other parts of it is that the rules now have been, if there's even a suspicion of concussion, you're supposed to remove the
that's
athlete.
Why the
and
numbers
so
going up, because otherwise, if they just got dazed, you wouldn't see that kid.
You might not. And the scary part of it is that we still have things where we have kids that are suffering a dinger, type of a thing, or getting their bell rung, and it's not recognized by coaches and maybe not seen by the sports medicine staff, because a lot of the times any collision, any fall can actually lead to a concussion. And so you never really know. And then we're finding out after the fact. And that, where we want to reach to next is be able to reach to the families and how to recognize those subtle signs and symptoms. So that way we can initiate care. And I'll tell you, it's the second concussion is always harder than the first to get over. And so if you recover that first concussion correctly and well, then the second one may not be a problem or may not happen, because it takes less and less to create the same types of symptoms if you don't recover from the first one well. And so there's return to learn, return to play protocols in place. It's usually about 7 to 8 days from the day of which you've been diagnosed to the time in which you can return back to competition for the health, because second impact syndrome is a real thing. We still hear about that second concussion being a problem, and this allows us that opportunity to be able to get our athletes healthy, where maybe they do miss some practices, maybe miss the next game, but that's a lot better than missing the next season or more.
You have just brought a comfort level to parents like you can't believe.
I
If
hope.
they understood what you guys were out there doing, when they see you on the field, they should be thanking you guys, because it's not just on the field, it's in practice, it's on campus, it's year-round, assisting the coaches in terms of what they're doing with those kids out there to prevent these things, hopefully.
Hopefully to take away the stress from the coach, because a lot of times the coaches may not have all of that medical training that would allow them to understand and recognize injuries, what are ones that should be more immediately addressed versus not. And, we have a wonderful group of athletic trainers. We have a great program at Cal State Northridge who are training our athletic trainers and getting them out into the community. So, and we've got so much great support from our community that we can actually really deliver great care.
Oh, I'm thankful for you guys for that. And I didn't have any kids playing football. I had 2 girls, but I have girlfriends whose kids are out there, and just the worry. And then I have friends who I went to high school with who played professional football and are now dealing with, those issues. So it's always going to be out there. But in Santa Clarita, in our community, to know that we've got Providence has our back and is out there being, proactive about these kinds of things, in the partnership with the schools, with the coaches, with the parents, with the athlete, is amazing.
Yes.
So,
very, very lucky, and it all comes from the support from above, which is Providence, and Providence has been very, very gracious. That too.
Him too.
As well, Providence wouldn't have existed, I guess.
That's right. He's driving the mission.
Yes, he is, and as are the rest of us. So and so I think Providence having the that forethought to recognize that the student athletes are the people who are going to be making big decisions for all of us later on in our lives. That the healthier we can keep them now, the better the decisions will be made.
Absolutely. So. I like that. Again, you guys are forward thinking.
Yeah.
5-10 years out, future of our kids, everybody. If we just had you guys to think of everything, we'd be all right. If you guys were just there in every aspect of our lives, we'd be all right.
Right.
Amazing.
Yeah, Janice, I really appreciate the time to be on here.
Well, you get every 6 months. You got about
I
2 minutes,
love it.
Tom. Run with it.
Yeah, well, I think the big piece of it is that and hopefully everyone gets the opportunity who is watching and listening, is that one, doing the shows can be kind of difficult. And to be able to take time out of the day to be able to bring not only just Providence, but all of the non-for-profits. And so I truly do appreciate you doing this.
I love it.
KHTS doing this and trying to bring everything
up.
Right?
Yeah.
So we really do appreciate it. And I know Holy Cross.
You have a show specifically so you can talk all about Providence, but I still like to have a little hands in there. I like to have you come on and give us the updates and the 411s.
You take as much as you need.
Tom, you're amazing. Thanks so much for taking time out of your crazy busy day to come and share with us. We are at the top of our hour. We're going to get you caught up with national and international headlines. And as always, we're here by way of KHTS Radio on your hometown station, 98.1 FM and AM 1220. Have a great day.